Yeah, raw fire.
Is it because people are, criticizing the zone scheme?
I don't give a fuck what they say about raw fire. I'm telling you, raw fire. Like, people don't have no clue. The fact that he not a head coach somewhere, for real, is like a blessing for us, especially in that defensive room. Like, Ra is the real fucking deal. I ain't even lying to you. Like, I'm passionate about that shit. Man, this man just taught me something this morning, like just sitting in his office for like 45 minutes. He just teaching me something new that ain't nobody ever taught me before, like ever. And then, like, let's talk about it. We didn't finish the game how we wanted to, but we played a hell of a game on defense. Like, we gave up fucking field goals, like, and people talking about Rod didn't call a good game. Like, what the fuck are y'all looking at? Like, what are we talking about? This is the NFL, and we gave up field goals. Still gave up under 17 points. Like, what are we talking about? Y'all are tripping.
He lights out. We been knew what he was capable of, though. Just got to keep feeding him the ball. Yeah, I had a little stomach bug, but I played. So
Did you watch Squid Game?
Say it again?
Did you watch Squid Game?
Did I watch Squid Game? Yeah, I was watching Squid Game. Yeah. It's dope, too. They need to add more episodes or a new season. But I did hear it's supposed to be a season 2, so I'm looking forward to it. Great. I feel great. I wouldn't say, like, the whole game, it was here and there. When we did all the RPOs and stuff like that, they just played great defense. They watched film. I can say they watched film on it because, sometimes they made great plays. Sometimes it was iffy reads, great reads right there. But I feel like they just played pretty good defense all around.
When you watch how much did the defense, your guys' defense, help you guys out today? Not only stopping, but taking the ball away from them.
Tremendously. We weren't putting a lot of points on the board like we used to doing. And our defense just played lights out. I don't know if it was 4 turnovers, and they just played lights out. A huge boost. We just didn't get it done today. We moved the ball a little bit second half, but we wasn't punching it in. A lot of penalties here and there, so I feel like it slowed us down a little. It's self-explanatory. That's my guy. Been my guy since 2018, so yeah, it felt great to have him back. The win wasn't really bad as I thought it was gonna be. In practice it was, but we got out there and pregame it was. But when we got out there, it was actually pretty all right. But it was blowing sometimes and it was pretty cold. So yeah.
Greetings to you all. I hope that you're feeling blessed and highly favored on today. It's yours truly tapping in once again, and I had to make a separate video for this particular topic. Jerry Jones has came out recently, or it's been unearthed, that a picture of him back in his earlier days. Obviously, he's an elderly man at this particular point in his life. I think he's in his 80s, if I'm not mistaken, but back during the times of segregation, how ironic that he was discovered. It was a picture of him being pro-segregation. Obviously he didn't. I believe the picture was them trying to prevent a young African American woman from entering into a school and actually integrating it. And so, as far as with that, this was no surprise to me. Typically, any elderly white man who is from the United States and is over 60, 70 years old, he's going to have somewhat of a racist undertone to him, even if it's not intentionally, even if he's not a bad person, he's still going to have some type of derogatory thoughts, in my opinion, concerning African Americans, because this is just the way that white men were bred during those times. So you really have to be the minority in order to not be brainwashed at all into feeling that all black people fit a certain stereotype, and so the good thing, or one of the things that I can certainly respect about a Jerry Jones is, he strikes me as a businessman first, so he doesn't really give a damn white, black, green, whatever your color. If we can get some money together, I am with that. Now oftentimes and I hope Colin Kaepernick doesn't pop his head back out as far as with the NFL being similar to a slave trade, because an analogy, a suiting analogy, in my opinion, because no one's forcing you to do anything. These young men are working very hard to obtain a position in the NFL, and there's only a few slots, and then you only have such a short time frame to where you can actually participate and actually get life-changing money for you and your family. And so I wouldn't consider this to be anything like a slave trade, but it's just more so the dynamics of business here in America. And typically at the root of that, there are going to be some Caucasian men where the money's really piling up and it's really, getting good at, and where the money gets thick. Yeah, typically some white men going to be in there kind of being the ringleader as to what goes on and kind of setting the rules of the establishment in that particular regard. Now, as far as with this, going back to Jerry Jones and, they're flabbergasted by this, like, oh my God, is he a racist, this, that, and the third. Like I said earlier, I feel like any elderly white man, or any time that, I would even go as far as to say, because values are typically passed down. Now, granted, the world is in a better place, as far as from an equality standpoint, as of today, and the privileges that are afforded to all races here in America. But when it comes down to stereotypes and the thinking of people, oftentimes we're still not going to be able to escape that, in my opinion. Now, obviously, this isn't going to shy away from your opportunities, because, with hard work and your ability, to actually work through situations, now more than any time throughout the course of history, has probably been the easiest for a black man to obtain riches, to really go ahead and put his family on and really go ahead and get that money that he's looking to do, and kind of be your own man, so to speak, outside of opportunities that were traditionally bestowed upon us or given to us. And so that's not to say that the victim mentality is correct. I'm simply saying that a lot of times you're not going to recognize or really know. I'll put it to you this way: if you think a white man views you as his equal, try to become his equal, and see how they somewhat feel about that. I'll say it a different way. Oftentimes when you hear Caucasian males speak, typically they have no issues whatsoever giving glory to an African American concerning his physical prowess. Oh my God, he's so athletic. He has blazing speed. Oh my God, did you see how he shot that basketball? Or from an entertainment standpoint, oh my God, did you see him do the dance? They love dressing like us. They love doing all these sorts of things, Yeah, they have no issues with that whatsoever, but have you ever heard a Caucasian male speak of the brilliance of the black mind? Have you ever heard a Caucasian man humble himself in regards to speaking on a black man that he feels is brilliant, someone that actually motivated him to be a better man? You're typically not going to hear this across the board. They're just not open to this, and it's my belief that typically across the board, from a mental standpoint, a mental capacity, I don't think any white man feels that a black man can be equivalent to him in that particular regard. Now, of course, taking into mind the 48 laws of power, obviously this can work against them, but and again, this is not saying that is true by any stretch of the imagination, but we're just describing or discussing on today how typically individuals look at things, and how could you blame them for not looking at it in this capacity? Because even in the public school curriculum, they're going to make sure that slavery is taught about. Once every 5 or 10 years, a movie about slavery is going to come out. And so it almost keeps it fresh in the minds of these individuals that, hold on, these people came here on slave ships. Segregation only about 60, 70 years ago. These people had to fight to be considered our equals. So, to me, it's hard to shake the reality of things. So even if someone did want to embrace you as that, society everything in this nation has been telling them to not accept you as an equal. So they have a lot to overcome if they don't want to be tainted by these particular views of popular culture and everything that's been going on around them. And so, obviously, me personally looking at things, this doesn't offend me. If someone feeling like they're better than me or anything to that capacity, or even in certain business ventures, this is not going to, disturb me, because oftentimes I know, regardless, especially when you're dealing in business with Caucasian men, they're going to feel as if they have the upper hand. And typically they are holding the marbles or all the chips. And so you have to be extremely talented, or either you have to be a hell of a sellout, and really just be one of those people that they can control. If you're good at playing the game, then of course they want to play ball with you, much like a Jerry Jones. They have no problem whatsoever playing that father role to the downtrodden black man, being the savior to the black man. And so, they have no issues with that whatsoever, and oftentimes Skip Bayless refers to that. Jerry Jones, he's almost like a daddy to those guys. He's going to make sure his guys are taken care of. Michael Irvin, any of those guys, he takes on that daddy role very well, and rightfully said. But the second part of what I wanted to touch on, and I opened this particular segment up with a clip of Jalen Ramsey, who, probably my favorite cornerback in the league, probably favorite defensive player as of right now. But it's just embarrassing to me, as a black man, when I hear our people going here talking hood in front of these Caucasian people who don't know anything about the culture. And I think in their mind they consider themselves keeping it real or being a real one. But son, really it's just embarrassing because they already think that you stupid. So you up here, he like that. He a real one. All this ghetto vernacular, ghetto talk, man. You sounding dumb up there, man. And I know that he has a higher vocabulary, a higher level of intellect to where he can go up here and really speak and present himself as a true professional. Now granted, he's already signed his big contract, so he really kind of got that off of talent alone. So I guess he feel like he can do whatever he want to do. But I still feel like you owe it as a credit to your race in order to be, for the ones coming after you, to be an astute businessman, which he's shown that to be, or he had a good agent, but just a professional, a consummate professional, to where you prove that you conduct yourself in a fashion that's, speaks well about your people. I think this is shown up most recently in the case of Lamar Jackson, where it's all good. He's been winning all these games. He's won the MVP for them, this, that, and the third. But now when it's his time to get paid, time and time again, we know how the financial system in the NFL works. Once it's your time to get paid, you have to raise that bar for the next person that comes behind you. It's not supposed to go down. You're not supposed to settle. And especially when you have the merits or the awards of one Lamar Jackson. And so, but we find out that they didn't want to pay him. Now, they made every excuse in the book as far as his play style being reckless, this, that, and the third. And Lamar's played ball. He says, I'm not going to do a holdout. I'm going to come in and I'm actually going to do what's considered now a hold in, to where I actually go ahead and play and prove myself on the field, despite the risk of being injured. But to me, I think the biggest thing that came into play is because he wanted to cut the agent out. Unlike Jalen Ramsey, he says he wants all the money for himself. So, him and his mother are representing himself. And to think that these Caucasian men are going to play ball with you, without having been forced to, obviously he had another thing coming. And so, it's my belief that they may try to, finagle a way to get around this even once again, to where maybe a franchise tag may be coming or some to that matter, unless he just blows it out of the water this year and they really have to pay him. But again, I think this all comes back to the point to where Lamar talks like a ghetto ass nigga, you know what I'm saying? Just to keep, for lack of a better word, he can't half understand what he's saying. He, my teammates, he says the right things. Obviously he's a good dude, but he talk with that hood vernacular. He talk like he's straight out the projects. You know what I mean? With how he was speaking and how he presenting himself. So these white folks, they paying attention, man. You feel me? So it's like the fact that you call yourself and to come to the table and do business with us, and I think oftentimes, Skip and Shannon oftentimes say you get an agent because you don't want to have to deal with the realities of how they really see you. Some of those things are going to cause immense amount of damage to the relationship, or could, to almost to the point where it's irreparable. But it takes a mature man to go in there and do that, because often really they're telling you not what you think you're worth to us, despite everything good that he's done in the community. It's my belief, if he was a Russell Wilson type of person that really came in and said all of the right things, he wouldn't have too many issues based on his productivity getting his just due, or getting paid for that matter. But to me, it's almost like they playing with you just because they feel like you stupid, for lack of a better word. So, if anything, a takeaway from today is just for the young black youth that are coming up. I know, coming from where we come from, oftentimes you feel like once you do make it to that level, or you attain any level of success, it's almost like, but I can do whatever I want to do now. You know what I mean? I'm going to talk how I want to talk in front of these white folks, and my people are going to champion me for that. But don't be deceived by that, man. Black folks, we champion ignorance all the time. You don't want to be in that particular boat, that a Lamar Jackson is in, because here's a man with all the talent in the world, and they still playing with him. How much more so do you think they're going to be playing with you? So and I feel like this goes across the board in any type of business dealings that you're doing. It behooves you to conduct yourself civilly and to be able to speak eloquently and fluently, because they're not expecting that from you. Oftentimes you'll get one of those backhanded jokes from white folks like, oh my God, you talk so good, you speak so well. Like, they're not expecting that from you. So this kind of, man, mess their mind up, man. And so this is not in any type of way telling you to be a sellout, not to keep it real. I'm just saying, as far as presenting yourself, present yourself with some class, man. For anybody who's following my beliefs and my teachings, present yourself with some class. I feel like that's going to take you a long way. But that's just my take on this whole situation, the Jerry Jones, the recent clip with Jalen Ramsey, and even the contract of Lamar Jackson. That's my take on it. But of course, you guys chime in. Let me know what you think, black and white. Tell me what you guys think concerning this situation. And of course, until next time, certainly be blessed.